You want to get better at golf, I want to get better at golf. And a lot of that improvement doesn't happen on the golf course or on the range, but in the gym. So today I'm here with Dr. Nick, who is a golf rehab and performance specialist, to get a little insight on how the body needs to be primed to perform its best out on the golf course. This is some valuable information, so please take this information and apply it to your own routine. So Dr. Nick, tell the people about yourself, what do you do, and why all this stuff we're about to learn is important to improving golf.
Sure, yeah, I'm a golf rehab and performance specialist, so I help golfers here in Nashville area work through and deal with pain, and then once we get them through that part, well, we start working on their performance. So it comes down to mobility, strength, stability, motor control, even to how they're developing power in the swing and addressing some of their swing characteristics or swing faults that they've been working on for a long time. So the big thing is with the easiest way to put it, when I talk to like swing instructors and coaches here in Nashville, is I try to give them a blank canvas of a golfer, right? So a lot of people have mobility issues, let's say, that are stopping them from being able to improve the different positions that they're trying to work on in the golf swing. So when we get patients and clients in here, the first thing we do is we do an exam to figure out, what is it that they can't do in the golf swing physically that's holding them back. And so essentially that's what we're gonna do today.
Sweet, sweet. So I know a lot of you guys are athletes who are looking to get into golf or using golf as a second sport. So we're gonna learn how the body works differently from sport to sport. And so if you like this type of stuff and you find this content useful, please hit that subscribe button. And I'm gonna have Dr. Nick's stuff all linked down in the description so you guys can reach out to him if you have any questions on the things you guys learned today. So let's get right to it. Dr. Nick, appreciate it, man.
Of course, let's do it. All right, so to start with the exam, I want to get a good sense of just generally how you move and how your body decides to create some essential patterns, right?
Okay.
So first thing, I have you standing here with your feet together, looking that way. I just want to see what's happening here at the head and neck. So first thing, just tuck your chin down towards your chest for me. Good, I'm just looking for a curve at the neck, different things like that. Any discomfort with this? Cool.
All
Anytime
good.
you have any discomfort, you just let me know, okay?
Sure.
Go back neutral for me. I want you to rotate your head towards me, just the head. Beautiful, we know how important cervical rotation is in the swing. We'll do the same thing this way. Good man, that looks good. Go back neutral, I want you to look up towards the ceiling, get your chin as high as you can. No major issues there.
No,
cool.
Just stretch.
Yeah, a little stretch. I want you to face that wall over there. We're gonna do the same thing, feet together. Let's go hands on your hips for me. I want you to rotate as far as you can in one direction, making sure to keep your feet flat on the floor as you do that. Good, same thing towards the right. Whoa, what do you feel there?
It's a little constricting to the right.
A little bit more difficult going towards the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can relax there. So your left was almost where we'd want it. It was pretty dang close. The right side, we started running some restriction pretty quick. Let's do that one more time towards the right. Yeah, you stopped much sooner. So what I see here is the pelvis. So we're getting to 45 degrees on the pelvis, and then we want the trunk to make up that other 45 degrees to get about 90 to 100 degrees, so usually a little bit more. Good. What we're seeing is, where do we just get that extra motion from?
Upper body for sure.
You realize, hey, I can turn a little bit more
Yeah.
through here. Good. Relax there. We're still not where we need to be on that right side, and a big asymmetry. So one of the most important things is just asymmetry.
Yeah.
How does one side move compared to the other? As an athlete, usually we have these asymmetries. Whether you played football or basketball, we're more comfortable being on one side relative to the other.
Yep.
Now that we're assessing for the golf swing, we need to make sure that you're golf ready, right?
Yeah.
And no longer basketball ready if those days are over. So
yeah, those days are definitely over.
that's one thing we want to see is make sure we're addressing any asymmetries and then integrating that back into the golf swing. Right?
Sweet.
So a big little thing there with that multi-segmental rotation. All right, I want you to stand there again facing that way.
Okay.
Let's go, feet together. Just give me a toe touch. Good, no major issues there. Good uniform curve, I like that a lot. Have you reach up towards the ceiling? Good, and then I want you to extend back as far as you can. All right, good. We would expect a little bit more of an anterior weight shift. You can relax there. So it's another thing for me to keep an eye out, right? How do we create extension? Are we missing some extension at the hips or at the spine?
Felt my rib cage and chest is absolutely just cracking.
Well, we heard some action there. Maybe the mic picked it up too.
It definitely is going to pick it up.
But some anterior expansion here at that chest and rib cage is definitely something that we could work on.
Okay.
Let's do this. I want you to go, we'll do kind of our single leg balance test. So we can face this way. What I want you to do is get one hip up towards 90 degrees, and we're going to see how long can you hold that.
Okay.
Once you get comfortable there, have you close your eyes. Good. We're going to do 10 to 15 seconds here. We see some airplaning going on. See the foot proprioception starting to work hard there. And we'll end it right there. Okay. Let's try the same thing on the other side. So I'd say that was somewhere between 5 to 10 seconds, probably close to 10 seconds. And definitely a struggle there on the right a little bit more than left. So again, just important to get that. We had a little asymmetry, right? It was a little bit worse, and we were under that 15 that we want from the Titleist Performance Institute would kind of recommend there, okay?
Man.
So we got some balance stuff that we can start to consider, right? We'll see how important we think it is. I want you to face that mirror, feet together again. We're gonna go up over our head like we're combing our hair and trying to touch the top of our opposite shoulder blade. No issue there. We get a little cervical flexion there to help out, but no big deal. Let's do the same thing on the other side. And you do great there. Similar, we're gonna come underneath, see if we can touch the bottom of our opposite shoulder blade. And you seem to do pretty great there. Good, same thing on the other side. And we just see if there's some winging going on here. You do pretty good. Nice. No discomfort in the shoulders for that?
Nope.
Excellent, that looked great. Last thing I wanna see, feet together. We can have you facing this way here.
Okay.
Arms out in front. I want you to squat down as far as you can. Touch the ground next to your feet if you can, and come back up. Good. Can we touch the ground next to your feet? So think next to your ankles.
Oh, okay.
Just so. Little pause there. Beautiful. And back up. Good, man. So this is assessing majority ankle dorsiflexion, hip flexion, different things like that. You seem to do good. We heard some crunching going on there. Was that your knees?
That was definitely my knees.
The knees. And we had mentioned just some brief history of left and right knee patellar tendonitis is what you've been told. We also had some cartilage
Damage in the left.
lesions there on the left side, which you had mentioned was on the patellar surface, right? And we hear some crunching in there. We think patellofemoral pain syndrome is kind of a big thing with that. So anytime we get that crunching or that feeling through there, a lot of times it's that same cartilage just rubbing through it. Pain-free, no big deal. Not worried about it in the slightest, right? So we're not too concerned about that yet, but it's something to keep in mind, especially with that history.
So none of that, like if anyone's like coming from basketball, knee problems are kind of
quite common,
a big thing. So does that affect, or like the stuff that you're testing now that you like the crunching and stuff, it doesn't really matter in a sense?
If it's pain-free and we don't see any loss of function, doesn't matter.
Oh,
any
okay.
crunching, clicking, whatever, no issues if there's no pain and no loss of function.
Cool, sweet.
Yeah. So overall looking pretty good, but we're gonna take a closer look at the knee and all the history that you had kind of mentioned earlier. Bilateral patellar tendonitis, and then that bone bruise with that cartilage damage things, right? We just wanna see what is your motor control stability over that knee look like when we start to test you a little bit. So it'll be closer towards the end.
All right.
So great job on that. Overall, we got some important things. I'd say top of the list is that multi-segmental rotation.
Gotcha.
Right, we're gonna see what is it that's limiting that multi-segmental rotation. Cool, let's do a TPI test. So Titleist Performance Institute, it's basically like an SFMA but golf specific. So this is where we're gonna see, how well has your basketball training and history prepared you for golf. We're gonna really start to see how well you're prepared for this.
Yeah.
Let's go shoes. Shoes you can keep on for now.
Okay.
Eventually you might slip them off. What I wanna see is a position here where we're imagining like we're holding like a 5-iron.
Okay. Shoes on or shoes off?
Keep them on for now. Show me a 5-iron posture. Good. And imagine we have a very long club there.
Yeah, an inch and a half longer for the irons.
Minga, okay.
Yep.
Now from here, let's go hands on your shoulders. What I want to see is a pelvic tilt forward and backwards. So think like you're dumping water out of the front of your pelvis and then pulling it back up like that. Beautiful. And so what I see, just keep giving that fluid motion, is that the range is definitely there. You get it right away. We don't have any compensation happening here at the trunk or the knees, but there's this kind of almost like robotic shakiness to it, right?
Yeah.
So that just tells me we can work a little bit to control that motion, right? We can be more comfortable in that motion. We call that like shake and bake.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something that we can put on the list as something to really own and control. We talk about how important the glutes are for the golf swing and controlling that pelvis and how important that core is. One way we can see if these two things are working is pelvic control, right? So in that swing, we want to be able to get into that posterior tilt as we come down through impact.
Yeah.
Again, if we can't control the pelvis at the glute or the rib cage and pelvis at the core, that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
So overall, we know we have control, we just gotta improve that quality of that control.
Because I remember we talked about before that, and when in my golf swing, because I like to try to cut the golf ball.
Yep.
I'm trying to get more like the hips back and feel like I'm sitting more into a chair, so I can cover it more and exit left. So is that like,
Yeah.
does that all that kind of play into a part
Absolutely.
of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're going to do what you just mentioned without compensating, then we need to have control of that pelvis to do it.
Cool.
Right.
Sweet. I like this.
Of course. And then we'll be able to shift into that hip without losing mobility into that hip as well. So we had some pelvic shake and bake with that pelvic tilt test. That's what that says, believe it or not. All right, let's do a pelvic rotation test. So it's the same position we're in here, and I just want to see, can we rotate our pelvis without these knees coming back like this, or our trunk coming along for the ride?
Wow. I don't even.
So we're taking some time to think about it. We're starting to figure it out. We're getting a little bit of knee action, but nothing too crazy, right? So yeah, a little bit better there. We noticed that our motion decreased when we do it like that, right? But we're still able to do it.
I don't have that mind connection to do this.
Exactly. All right, so here we'd say something similar. Overall, pretty good, right? I certainly see a lot worse. But with that pelvic rotation, we can clean that up a little bit. So that's more of like a motor control thing.
Okay.
So the last thing I want to see in this position is trunk rotation. So can we rotate that trunk, again, without this pelvis coming along for the ride or the head or neck coming along for the ride? Is it fluid? Is it quick? Is it easy? Nice. Easy. It tends to be what people do best on. And you do pretty good there, right? No issues, I'd say.
Yep.
Cool. Let's move on to, we've already done our balance test. So the version we did in the SFMA is the same, the TPI version of it.
Okay.
So we know we need to work on that a little bit. We've already done a toe touch test.
Okay.
It's a TPI test as well. It looks pretty dang good. Cervical rotation looked great both sides. We'll check those off the box as TPI.
Sweet.
Okay.
Sweet.
Let's get you on the ground. I want you to do a glute bridge.
Okay.
So we'll go face up here.
Single leg or double leg?
What we're going to do is double leg up, and then we're going to switch to a single leg in that position. Good. I have you come back down quick. I want to move your feet closer to you. Yeah, perfect. And then let's extend up from there. And that looks great right there. Here, let's go extend this foot out in front of you. Beautiful. Keep that angle there. We're going to hold this for 10 seconds. I'm looking to see, does the pelvis rotate towards one side? Does the pelvis start to drop down? Do we start struggling? And he's going to tell me, is it hamstrings are cramping? Is my low back cramping? Or is my glute working? Take a little break there. Good, so you got the 10 seconds. We did have a little dip on that pelvis towards that non-working side. Tells me we can work on these short muscles here that help control the pelvis on this side of the pelvis. So glute here, core here. What about the side? So that's telling me we can work on that abduction.
Okay.
Did you feel your hamstrings working a whole bunch?
No, it was my glute.
Glute, beautiful. That's what we want. We want to make sure that you're able to quickly turn that glute on to control what's happening at that pelvis.
Sweet.
And extension quickly.
Okay.
Let's do the same thing. We'll bridge up, and we'll do the opposite side. I'm looking for any dip in here at the pelvis or rotating. Everything here looks pretty good. We'll do about 5 more seconds. Not seeing much on this side. It's looking a little bit better. You can relax there. Hamstring, glute, low back.
Glute.
Glute. Cool. So you got access to that glute relatively quickly. We'll see if that same thing happens when we do some of our other testing today.
Okay.
If we're truly doing a good job of controlling what's happening at the knee.
Okay.
And we're going to use the glute for that too.
And I told you I was mostly posterior
That's
dominant.
right. Glute, hamstring, yeah. Posterior chain. Struggle more with that quad activation and things like that. And we'll see quad activation and these abductors or lateral glute muscles here too.
Okay.
Lateral hip muscles. All right. That's great. Let's do our lat test.
Okay.
So we're going to use that wall back there. This test, call it the lat test, but it's assessing more than just the lats. What I want to know is, are we able to get into an overhead position without compensation? A lot of people, if they're missing thoracic extension, will struggle to get into this position. If you're missing shoulder mobility, you'll struggle to get into this position. And if you have tight lats, you'll struggle to get in this position, right? So we get to look at anything that's really contributing to overhead mobility. The position looks like this. We'll go gently into the wall here. We're going to push our low back into this club so it doesn't fall. The moment I start to arch this low back, club will start to dip.
Yeah.
Okay. So from here, we're going to go low back, mid back, back of the head. Arms are out in front. Try to reach your thumb to the wall without that low back extension.
Individually?
One at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so your back and everything is flat on the...
Stays nice and flat. Yep. So you're going to Yeah, so great job. You got a little posterior tilt is what that is. Reach your arms out in front, back of the head, mid-back's on the wall. Don't let this start to arch, and let's do just the right one slow. Don't let that elbow bend. All right, so we got ourselves a big restriction on that right side. Let's come back down and do the same thing on the left. Yeah, both sides. All right.
So I should be able to touch the wall.
Thumb to the wall, yep, you can relax
wow.
there. So now the next question is, again, is this primarily coming from, we just are missing shoulder mobility, right, the shoulder capsule itself? Is it truly this lat length has shortened up on us, that's stopping that shoulder from doing that? Or is it a T-spine extension thing where we've lost the ability to extend?
Okay.
So when we start you in this extended position, we've taken away so much motion already from the shoulder.
Gotcha.
Right. And so some of our other tests today, beyond the TPI tests, are going to dive into those different areas.
So remember before I was telling you like what I'm trying to do with my golf swing with my coaches, trying to use my long levers a little bit better and like keep that extension. So with the lack of mobility of getting like this thumb to the wall in that test, would that play a part in keeping like that extension in length as I like do the golf swing?
Definitely. So anytime you're trying to get wider or higher, the more restricted we are in this lat. Again, if you want to put this lat on tension, what we'll do is we'll go up overhead. If you want even more, we'll go up and across.
Okay.
Right? So essentially that's almost like the backswing there.
Okay.
If you're limited in this test, it's going to make anything we try to do to get more width or height in that backswing more difficult. So the question is, are we creating compensations to try to get this position here where maybe we're starting to stand up a little bit more, right? If we can create artificial extension through our low back here instead. So this is where we start to lose posture. We talk about like loss of posture in the golf swing. It's because we're trying to focus on something else, like this position here, at the cost of different positions elsewhere.
So this could be, I don't need any extra distance, but this could be like something that can unlock more distance for the average golfer.
Exactly, because we're going to take away any compensations that are taking away that distance from you and get you a little bit more width, whatever we need to adapt in the swing there. Okay.
Sweet. If I start hitting it farther, then more distance doesn't hurt.
Sure, and it never does. And again, we want to see that lat test getting better. We want to see those thumbs getting closer and closer to the wall.
Okay.
Because that's about as restricted as that test can get.
All right, cool, sweet.
Yeah, of course. All right, let's take a look at, we will do our lower quarter rotation test.
Okay.
So for this test here, we want to see, can we get 60 degrees into this hip internal rotation, hip, tibia, and ankle, everything's involved. And then same thing with this opposite side hip. So we're going to use a little measure, use the goniometer here, to get our angles to make sure that we're assessing this with accuracy. So the first thing we'll do is you'll kind of line your toes up to this here, and I'll use the club to help show that angle a little bit better. Let's go
left foot first?
Let's go left foot because most people do better on this. So right now we're looking at your backswing.
Okay.
Hands are on your hips, knee straight. So we're just going to kind of get as tall as we can. I want you to rotate as far as you can in that direction. Nice. So I want to see you break the plane of that club there. And you just finally get to it right there. You're very close, actually. Come back down to neutral.
I can go more, honestly.
Yeah, a little bit more. Okay, we needed that. Come back to neutral for me. So you get to it on that left hip backswing. That's external rotation of this hip.
Okay.
There's a struggle, but we got there.
Yeah.
Let's do the same thing with the right foot. And we're going to rotate towards the right again. So can your right hip create enough rotation for the backswing? Hip, tibia, and ankle.
This seems a little...
We'd say absolutely not is what we would say in this case.
So it needs to be the same range?
60 degrees in both, yep.
Absolutely not.
Not even close.
is what we'll say in this case.
Okay. And we can see how you're trying to even pronate that foot there, right? It's trying to come up off the ground to create a little bit more.
And this is internal rotation, right?
Happening at the hip.
Okay.
The hip, the tibia, and the ankle there, right?
Okay.
So these are all involved. What we're going to do is take a look at the hip specifically, the tibia specifically, and the ankle specifically going forward to try to identify where is the big restriction come from, or are they all involved?
Okay.
All right, so backswing is looking like it's a miracle you're getting there at all, because we know we have restriction through here in the upper body, and we know that we have restriction in this backside trail hip, okay?
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle.
Okay. That means there's a lot of improvement that can happen, which is a good thing.
Essentially, yes, yep.
I think your rotation was even worse than mine on that internal.
Yeah.
Yep, that was locked up.
You were saying you were your backswing is cut.
Yeah, but my backswing, like I get like my left shoulder pass parallel. I can keep it here, so I didn't think. But maybe he's telling me that I could literally be like.
Yeah, you could do more, or you could do it with less, maybe knee bend, right? So the fact that we can't get on this hip tells me in the backswing you're probably not getting into that hip, right?
Okay.
And so where else is moving in a different way to unlock a little bit of motion?
Oh, so I could stay. You're saying I could stay in this posture more.
Better, yes. Yep.
Okay, so for me to get there, I need to like probably stand up a little bit.
Typically something's happening, yeah. Something's happening somewhere.
Yeah.
So we can do it better, we can do it more efficiently, right, if we can unlock some of this space.
Okay.
Let's do right foot.
Okay.
We'll stand up on that foot. You can kick that other foot back. We want all the weight on that front foot, nice and tall. Rotate into your downswing. And you clear very easily here. So even better than the right side for external rotation, you can relax there. You definitely have no issues getting into external rotation on that right
That was
hip.
very smooth.
Yeah. Let's try the left foot. So internal rotation is always harder. We naturally have less range there, but we should, with the combination of the hip, knee, and ankle, get into this 60 degree. So let's try through there. Good. And right, we're definitely not getting there. It looks better than your right to me. We're probably 20-ish degrees short of that 60 that we want. Right, we see that we're cutting through the club there. But much better, right, on that left side. So you have more access to that internal rotation to kind of push through that front foot and get through here. So you can be more comfortable here.
Okay.
But we still want a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we'll see, is this a weight bearing thing when we get you on the table and start testing? Does some space open up all of a sudden? This tells me that when we're standing up, our positioning, weight bearing, our pelvic positioning, all this stuff can affect that hip internal rotation, these numbers we're getting. We need this to get better though.
Yeah.
So even if those numbers look a little bit better, then we know, okay, we need to not just work on mobility, but the way that we control this mobility standing up.
Okay,
right?
so if I ask you this question, if you had to choose between like strength and I guess everything we're doing is quote unquote mobility, if you had to pick one or the other for golf, which one would you choose? I know they kind of both go hand in hand together in some way, but which one would you choose more?
To have full mobility or have adequate strength?
Right.
Probably mobility.
Okay.
But only barely, right?
Yeah.
You need both. Because you can have a ton of mobility and still get injured. You can have a ton of strength. You'll have to compensate your way through an ugly swing, and you can still get injured.
Cool.
Right. Cool. That was enlightening. And it makes sense with that multi-symmetric rotation test that we did. We really struggled going this way.
Yeah.
That this right hip, which is doing internal rotation in that instance, is limited.
Yeah, it's funny how simple stuff is so humbling sometimes. Like when I was filming your stuff, I was like, oh, this, like I was kind of like jabbing at you, but now I'm doing the same thing, and it's kind of like, oh, I'm cooked. Yeah, he said it's a miracle I can even do a backswing. That's
yeah, there's a bit. I might have exaggerated a little bit, but obviously you're a very good golfer, right?
Yeah.
You play well. We can just take some stress off some certain things and
good.
probably get you playing a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, once again, I want to give a shout out to Dr. Nick for allowing me to come in here. Also, shout out to Austin, because I did get this idea from him. He was the first one to do this. So shout out to him. I'll link his stuff down in the description. But if you're enjoying this content, a like is always appreciated, and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Golf season is about to kick off, and we're going to see a lot more golf content on this channel because the weather's getting a lot better in Tennessee. So hit that subscribe button.
All right, so we wanted to learn more about this overhead positioning,
Okay.
how you're compensating through, say, a squat in that position. So what I want, is elbows at 90, go straight up overhead from there.
All right, so.
And that looks good right there. I will go straight up. Feet, whatever's comfortable for you, distance. And then I want you to squat straight down from here.
And the crunching begins.
Very crunchy, yep. Good, and then back up. All right, let's do one more. So what I can see is that this PVC pipe comes out over in front of your center of mass and stand back up. If, say, we had 100 pounds on that bar, there's no way you'd be able to hold it out that front.
Not a chance.
So it tells me that we have to go out in front because we've lost some mobility. That lat test being a struggle for us, getting up overhead, tells me that'd make a lot of sense. That would pull you forward. Let's do this. I want it down at your shoulders. Give me another squat here.
Okay.
All right, I'm back up. Now we're making a face. What's the face for?
I think it's just more of like I've always had knee problems, so it's just like a habit to brace for knee problems.
Okay, so yeah, a little bit of just concern that you don't know what's going to happen next in this position.
Like there was no problems doing that.
Gotcha.
So I don't even know why I was making the face, to be honest with you.
Now, when we were up overhead, did we have any discomfort when we squatted down?
No, it's just more of just like just feel that stretch here, that tension.
Yep, in the lat. Okay. All right, so that gives me some good information. Let's take a look at your ankle dorsiflexion.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll take the PVC pipe from you.
I think I have pretty good ankle mobility in order to squat all the way down.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking good. It was looking good. Let's see. Can any of you take the shoes off for me?
Okay.
There, quick. I want to go, let's go toe, left toe at the 4-inch mark. So essentially, you'll be on the left side. From here, I want to see, can we get that knee to the wall without this heel coming off the ground?
Okay. How far away am I doing this?
Let's go on the left side of there. I want the toe at that 32 mark there, which is... Yep, beautiful there. Now keeping that heel down and pelvis pointing forward, can you get that knee to the wall? Good, and that heel stays nice and firmly planted. Let's try the same thing on the right side. So you do a great job with that.
Yeah, I could
squat.
I could have done a lot further.
Yep, good. So we see like maybe it's trying to start, but I'd say you passed that test, no problem.
Cool.
So ankle dorsiflexion doesn't seem like a big major issue for you. It's probably all coming from that overhead positioning, right?
Okay.
That's why we struggle with that overhead squat. It wasn't a lower half thing, it was an upper half thing.
Okay.
Now you being an athlete and playing sports growing up and playing professional sports, basketball,
Yeah.
you've worked a lot on the sagittal plane.
Yeah.
Right? This ankle dorsiflexion sagittal plane thing does really good. The squat, you're able to squat down quite deep, no issue, sagittal plane thing. With the golf swing, a rotational and frontal plane thing where we have to shift from side to side, and we have to rotate through these joints more. You know, what we're assessing today is, are you able to do that? You do really good with the sagittal plane stuff.
Okay.
You struggled with the rotation stuff, right?
Right.
That multi-segmental rotation, the lower quarter rotation kind of stuff there, right? So this is kind of showing how you're pretty primed well for that sagittal plane, but you're starting to fall behind a little bit on this rotation stuff, right?
Okay.
Especially that lower quarter rotation. So I'll be very curious to see when we break these joints down individually where your numbers are truly at, and this will kind of help structure a plan of care to get these specific things starting to translate up the chain back to the golf swing.
Okay. So with, like, let's just use basketball players. What do you usually see is kind of like the main corporates or like problems with those type of
Coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah, lower extremity. So ankles, the long history of rolling your ankle, different things like that. So we've lost some mobility in that ankle as well as just a proprioception, right? When we get all that injury through there and nociception or pain goes up, proprioception starts to become an issue.
Okay.
Right? So just working through the ankle and how we create force into the ankle side to side.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, it's the knee, right? Everyone's had a knee issue that
Yeah.
played ball. So our goal there is to figure out where do we need to recreate some stability at the hips to, again, improve what's happening at the knee,
Okay.
right? And then we have to teach them to start work back into that transverse or frontal plane. Now, every sport is triplanar. Of course, there's rotation in basketball too. It's just not,
use as much.
you don't train it as much, right? Yep, and you don't use it as much.
Okay.
as
So
you do this
a little fun question: what sport-specific athlete transitions to golf the best?
Tends to be hockey players.
Are you just saying that because you're a hockey player?
No, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying I'm a hockey player.
Hockey players are known to be
Yeah,
great.
hockey players are great, and there's a couple reasons for that. One is that they use a two-lever instrument, right? So they have the stick, and then they have the end of the stick, which is basically essentially a second lever, right? So it comes off at a different angle, just like a golf club.
Yeah.
Okay. So they know how they have to create control at the wrist and be strong through the wrist and forearms grip to control what's happening. They're used to controlling a club face essentially. Someone like a baseball player, it's a single lever. So they don't have as much control what's happening here at the wrist, not to mention the way they load up and create power is a little bit differently, right? Like I mentioned, the hips kind of lead the way a little bit too much in that sense. So hockey players tend to create more power and be able to control the club face a little bit better than anyone else.
All right. So if you play hockey, give golf a try.
Yeah,
Sure.
good golf try. Especially if you're a hockey player who plays on their offhand typically, right? So
Okay.
if you're a lefty hockey player and a righty golfer, you have some better potential to create power. And there's a whole reason for that, which maybe we'll get into another time.
All right, cool.
Cool. All right, let's do our trunk rotation test. So we can use this corner here, the corner of the bench. And what we will do, what we're essentially doing is creating two 45-degree angles here.
Okay.
We're going to put 1 foot over the other. We're going to rotate towards that top side foot and see if we break the plane of the side of the bench.
Now, with me being 6'10",
Do we need a bigger box?
Do we need a bigger?
We can try that one over there.
So my legs are at 45 degrees.
That's right.
This is a lot heavier than I expected it to be.
Sorry, I'm making you do the work here.
Nah, it's all good. I need to get my lift in anyways.
Yeah,
That's too high
Ready, come on.
on this side.
So we'll go on that corner right there, yep.
Oh, that's perfect. All right. So hands on the hips.
We can go hands across the shoulders.
Okay.
Let's go right foot over the left, and then try to get both feet nice and flat. They're not perfect there. So if the right foot's over top, I want you to rotate as far as you can towards your right. Good. So what we're assessing here is trunk rotation. You want to get 45 degrees of trunk rotation, and you're getting plenty here, right? Let's do the same thing towards the left.
I feel it in my QLs.
Do you feel in the low?
Like right here.
On the sides there, yeah, and the side and low back. Okay. There's just some cramping going on there. Good, and no issue there, right? We're able to break that plane. I'd say we're just beyond it, no problem. Now this is a test from TPI, which is kind of a good screen to see, do we have enough rotation in that upper body? You seem to have no issue there, but I always like to take this test one step further. So in our biomechanic testing, we're going to do another version of T-spine rotation testing to make sure that you have good motor control and full range of T-spine rotation.
Cool.
But otherwise, you definitely pass that test there. That'd
Cool.
be good. If you stand up, we're going to do some shoulder testing here. So standing straight up, palms facing the ground, elbows in line with the shoulders. I just want you to go up and do external rotation on one side and on the other. Good, so your trail side arm, this is a very important one. We need to make sure we can get it to 90 degrees or more here. So I'm looking, do you get to spine angle? And you get right to spine angle, I would say. Come back neutral. You're making a face. Is there any discomfort with that?
It's just,
You just working hard? You feel these kind of
yeah, it's just tight.
up on you? Yeah.
I think I'm just the type of person that makes faces for
Okay,
no
that's
reasons,
you.
to be honest with you.
All right.
Like I'll be swinging my golf club practicing and I'll make a face. I don't know. I think it's just how I am.
I see. All right, I won't put too much stock into it then. Let's do the same thing on the left side. And it seems like you're able to get just past spine angle here on the left side, a little bit more than 90 degrees. Good. What I want you to do now is do that same 5-iron from before, and then bring your elbows up to shoulder position. So I'm going to help you out a little bit. Let's get that right there. From here, I want you to do the same thing. Externally rotate that shoulder. And we're seeing, can you get past spine angle here? And I'd say you're right on it or a little bit beyond, right? And relax there. So about the same as when you were standing straight up.
And same thing with the left.
Let's do that same thing here. Go ahead. Yep.
This is. I feel like this one's a little bit
A
harder.
little bit harder. I'd say you're right at spine angle. Definitely not beyond it. And good, take a little break. So you're right at the minimum of what we'd want to have like a compensation-free swing,
Okay.
right? Where we're not having much issue with the shoulder. I like to see people get a little bit beyond 90 degrees,
Okay.
right? Especially if you're trying to stay away from this kind of hikey over the top,
Yeah.
and you want to be really good at maybe shelling the plane, and
Yeah.
we can use this combination here to create a better kind of swing path for us. We
Okay.
got to be really comfortable here. So we
Yeah.
don't want to be just bumping up to 90 degrees. We want to be able to go beyond so that we have more range where we're comfortable.
Right.
But technically, we'll give you the pass on that. I'm going to take a closer look regardless going forward.
Seems like a lot of my problems are
Feel things just
up here.
Yeah.
A couple down here, but a lot of it's
The
just
two
like,
big ones.
is up here.
Yep, the shoulders and the hips. Yeah. All right. Let's see. That should be it for TPI. We have some wrist and forearm testing to do, and then we will be good to go. Okay, so to finish up the TPI testing, we're going to do some wrist and forearm testing, right? Make sure everything's
Okay.
cool here. Elbows at your side. I want to see pinkies down towards the ground.
Pinkies down towards the ground.
Yep, and then thumbs up towards the ceiling. Good. So we ulnar and radial deviation. Very important for planing the club there. Those both look pretty good, right? We don't need too much motion from here. We just need to make sure that you have access to it. It's kind of a subjective test. Good. Now from here, let's go back neutral. I want you to go palms towards the ground, palms towards the ceiling. Perfect. Forearm rotation, no issues with this at all whatsoever. Now I want you to go kind of knuckles away from me like this. I want you to go knuckles towards the ceiling, knuckles down towards the ground. Wrist flexion and extension, you actually do quite good with this. Now you'd mentioned a history of some discomfort in, is it this motion here? That wrist flexion?
No, I don't, it's not really with the motion. It's like if I'm like holding something like this.
Gotcha.
Or like if I'm behind the camera and I'm holding it, it's just like the longer it happens, I just start feeling like discomfort.
I see, okay.
So I don't know, I don't think it's like a specific motion. That's why I'm not really too concerned about it.
Yep.
I think it's just like extended periods of like in one motion
Yep.
kind of just bothers it.
Checks out, okay. Something to keep in mind. But otherwise, those all looked good.
Yeah.
All looking pretty good.
Sweet.
Nice.
Finally a good thing.
All right, let's do, let's get into the details here a little bit.
All right.
Can I have you lay face up for me there? You do great with the forearm testing.
I'm about to get cooked in the comments because my feet are gonna be like dangling off. He always finds a way to do this. I can see every pore on my face.
All right, we have the socks on the appropriate feet. Well done, right's on the right. That's the first step. All right, you just go kind of loosey-goosey here.
Okay.
I want to see how well we're able to get into that internally rotated position. All right, hold that right there for me. You're gonna feel some muscles working that you haven't felt in a while. I gotta go grab this. If anything starts to cramp, you let me know.
No.
Good man. Good, and we're just short of that 30 here on the right, so 26. Let's see if we come back down. Cool, go loosey-goosey for me there. Now I'm watching, when do we get that hip hike? Now, if you take a look at this here, as I start to rotate, we can see that this is already starting to move. So you feel how this is almost like connected one-to-one
Yeah.
with that pelvis and hip? So we're able to get that hip out wide, but the wider and wider I go, the more and more this pelvis starts to be pulled along with it. So what I want you to do, again, try to go as calm and chill there as you can, is yeah, that's pretty, almost right away. I want to stop the moment I see that hip starting to really roll, which is already about right there. So this is, maybe you hold that right there for me. Again, this will be a little bit less. That's closer to 15, 16. So the question is, when do we stop, when does our true internal rotation stop and our compensation begin?
Well, I can tell you, like, when you did the 15 one, like when I was holding it on that second test, I can feel like this part working.
Gotcha.
Like a lot, honestly.
Okay, yeah. So our motor control over that too even, right?
Yeah.
We need to take a close look at that. I want to go for external rotation here. So you let that go heavy again. All right, hold that right there for me. It's looking like it should be bumping up to 45 degrees, which is right where we want it. And that's almost exactly right, like 43 degrees there. Right, 45 is where we want. So we're pretty happy with that, but we can start to poke into that a little bit. Right, if we're designing some treatment plans, we can think to start addressing that a little
Cool.
bit. Make sure that's taken a look at.
He's gonna say my hips are cooked.
Let's see, go nice and easy there. And you can see just how quickly that hip starts to hike. I don't know if you have any true relative motion of hip internal rotation in there. Hold that right there for me. So you're a great compensator, 22. We just got to we got to figure out how to get you to start doing these things independently of each other. So think pelvis stays, just the hip rotates.
You honestly might revive my professional basketball career if you figure out, like, all this stuff gets good, I might be able to play again.
All right, well, that's our new goal is we want you to break 70 and play professional basketball. Hold that right there for me. Is there a team you'd want to play for?
In terms of the NBA,
Yep.
definitely Greg Popovich and the Spurs.
Okay.
I like him as a coach. My mom's a huge San Antonio Spurs fan. I'm a huge San Antonio Spurs fan. We were both born in San Antonio, so it's just like, it's only right.
Fair enough.
Fun fact, I almost had a G League workout with the I almost had a G League workout with the San Antonio Spurs G League team. So
Interesting.
that'd have been nice.
Not a buddy from high school who played on the Rockets for a little bit. And then
Oh, really?
Played with Steph and the guys for just a season.
Who was that?
Anthony Lamb.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
Went to high school with him.
Didn't he go to UConn?
Vermont
Oh.
for a while.
But I do remember there was a Lamb on Golden State.
Yeah, I think
That's pretty
he's
cool.
in Europe now or something.
Where did you go to high school? Like what state?
New York, upstate New York. Yeah, share the same birthday, me and him. Let me have you lay on your side facing that way.
Okay.
So we've noticed weight bearing, there's some issues with internal rotation. We get you on here, your numbers are a little bit better than what they should be, right?
Okay.
They're not quite where we want them, but they're a little bit better than you'd think. But we're starting to see that those are coming as a result of compensation, right? We're starting to notice it.
Yeah.
So this test, I want to see, if you just go loosey-goosey here, this is going to tell me a little bit more about what's happening at the pelvis. Good. And we'll bring that back up. Try to stay perfectly in line there. I'm going to keep you from rolling backwards. You want this hip to go up. And I'm not even sure I can get you into full extension here. Let me start to get a little locked there. Let's do the same thing on our side. So in your case, you have good control over extension, but I'm not sure there's a lot of mobility for
Yeah.
extension in there.
This is once again a very humbling experience.
We're close to getting that right side down. We'll do that again. Yeah. So extension again. Otherwise, you're getting pretty dang close to where we want you. Now if you remember, Austin's, his were great with this one. He really crushed this one.
Well,
You're close, right? Both sides. The left side was a little bit worse than the right.
well, if you look at him in his physique and you look at my physique, I feel like you could put two and two together.
Why?
Just you're more of like a type of dude.
Yeah, I want to be more mobile.
Now, let me ask you this. With that, not being able to get into hip extension, like I've always had a problem with like tighter hip flexors.
Yeah.
Now, I think they're tight because I can't do the couch stretch and get all the way up to the wall.
Yeah.
I'm way better than a lot of people.
Sure.
But I feel like getting your hips in and this, like, it just feels real tight here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is that part of that?
Absolutely. If your hip flexors are tight, yeah, those are the same things that need to allow hip extension to
Okay.
happen. So that could definitely be a cause for what might be holding you back when I'm trying to get that hip back into position to even start testing you for that Ober's test. So this is a test we really got to come back to once we've opened up hip extension so that we can
Okay.
get better, true measurements of what's happening
Okay.
at the pelvis. Okay. So plenty to work on there. Let's do this. Let me get you back on the table.
Okay.
Why don't you go hands and knees for me? So we'll do the lumbar lock test. This is what I think is a better version of measuring true thoracic spine rotation. I want you to try to get your knees together or as close to each other as you can, and then try to bring your elbows to those knees as well. And just allow yourself to sit back. Perfect. From here, what I want you to do is left hand on the small of your back. And I'm going to measure. Let's go palm towards the ceiling. Perfect there. I want you to tuck that down. Good. Rotate as far as you can towards your left.
Like
So whole body. Yep.
this?
Sorry, towards your left.
Wait, oh, like
Yeah, bingo, just like that.
Okay.
Good. And then back neutral. I'm gonna ask you to do that one more time. Good. Relax there. That was 40. Let's do the same thing on the right. 45 is what we're shooting for. So you're close. Yep. And back down.
I feel like that was more.
If you stay neutral here, do that one more time. Don't let yourself sway.
Okay, no, it's
It's
not.
a little bit different now. All right, relax there.
Well, you said I'm a good commentator, so.
That's right. And that was a little compensation happening there. 35 to the right. It was just above 40 to the left. So we call that the lumbar locked test. Left, call 41.
So is that good or bad?
35.
Underperforming or overperforming?
Underperforming in both accounts, but just barely on the left, a little bit more severe on the right. Right, 10 degrees that we can get but not terrible, okay? We can work on that. Let's let's take a look at shoulder, true shoulder passive mobility, right? And then we can do some other fun stuff. So
Okay.
have you lay face up for me one more time. I'll bring your pillow back. Good. Now, if we scooch down a little bit more, I want you, yep, perfect. We just got the head on there. Let's do this. I want you to go chill here in the shoulder, let this arm just drop as far as it can comfortably. And I'd say this is just about what that shoulder 90-90 test was showing us. You're right at 90 degrees for that. And we feel some resistance coming in through here. Where does that shoulder start to pop up? Right there. All right. Can you hold that right there for me? We can get a measure of this left shoulder internal rotation. Internal rotation, very important on this lead side arm. We're at 45 degrees. Good. Let me get that back. As we come across, this shoulder is doing internal rotation. This one's doing a lot more external rotation on this right side. So important to have access to both, but we can prioritize one on one side. Hold that right there. All right, we are at 33 degrees of internal rotation on this right. So we're definitely missing some IR on this right side. ER's right where that 90-90 test kind of had us, right about at 90. So good, right? We'll take that. It'd be nice if we had a little bit more. We want to be as free and open and comfortable in that external rotation position as we can be. So that might go on the list, right? That might be something we look at improving a little bit, even though you're kind of right at standard numbers.
Okay.
But for the golf swing, you always want a little bit more. So this is about 90, both sides. It's about 35 on the right. And we were at 48, 45 on the left. Cool. Okay. So this is some of our big numbers. We got some different colors on here, but over test, tell me what's happening at the pelvis. Our hip IR, lots of compensation happening in that rotation.
Okay.
Can't get you to internally rotate your hip without that pelvis coming along for the ride.
Okay.
So we'll see how those things change. We want to separate those two motions. Shoulder IR needs some work on both sides. ER we can clean up just a little bit. Thoracic spine rotation towards the right. Again, we have a right rotation restriction.
Okay.
We want to see that get better so that we can improve this multi-segmental rotation test.
Okay.
We want to see this hip IR number improve so we can improve this lower quarter rotation test.
All right, cool,
Okay.
cool.
Nice. All right. Beyond that, say some of the essential things you all want to look at is this upper extremity and lower extremity motor control.
Okay.
So these will tell us a little bit more about, in terms of orthopedic and functional testing, tell us more about how you create stability and movement. Okay. So we're gonna go.
Information, but I feel like this is.
It is a lot.
is
It's a big data collection day. So we're gonna use this board here.
Oh, you're about to see me struggle with stability on this.
So we'll start with the upper extremity motor control. For this, we have our lead side thumb
Okay.
in line on the numbers. We want our ring finger in line with that white line, and then we let our body orient to this hand.
Okay, gotcha.
From here, we reach over top, push the board, return, and then that's a good rep, right? So we can count how far we get there. First thing, can I have you actually place your heel here? We got to measure the foot. This helps us standardize the results to
in
you.
terms like this?
Yep, just like that. So let's say about 32, right? 32. All right, so that means that we want to get to, well, I guess I won't tell you yet. You just do the best you can.
He's gonna come out and be like, yeah, it's not enough. All right, so you said, like, hand like here.
Yep, being kind of like that. We want to get this kind of alignment. Yeah, so right about there. It's beautiful. Start you there. And then you're gonna reach, push on the red. Nice, and back. Good, you did it. 74, right? Let's do one more on that side.
Okay.
Oh, uh-oh, pushed it too far.
I was trying to extend it as much as I possibly could.
Let's do, give me one more good one on that side.
This is showing the lack of shoulder strength that I have.
You can go a little bit, kick these out towards the right. Yep, a little bit more. Good there. Good. Good there. Nice. So you can see we need not only mobility there, the 70, but strength through that mobility, right, to control kind of an awkward motion. This being your left side arm down, it looks a lot like
Yeah.
golf swing, right? It just happens to be the way we test this, though. Let's try the same thing other side. I'm gonna write those numbers down before I forget them.
My hands are so sweaty. So same thing.
Orient your body more at an angle.
Yeah. So like here?
Looks better.
Oh, whoa.
Good. 72. Let's do one more on that right side.
It's my hand. I'm like trying to make sure I don't face plant.
Yeah, definitely don't face plant. Good. 75. Nice. Well done. So that was the
That
right
is hard.
side.
I haven't been in the gym that much either too, so
Clearly.
lack of strength.
All right, well, let's take a look at the lower extremity. So we have a history of some knee stuff. It'd be really important to get some more information on how you create stability at the knee from the muscles here at the hip.
Okay.
Right, so for this one, what we're doing, we're starting behind the line now, toe on the line. Go down as far as you can. Don't let that heel come off the ground. Once you get as far as you can, return, good rep.
Can I put my shoes on for this?
Yes, you can.
I feel like I'm just gonna slip off of that. All right. You said toe on the line?
Yep, just short of that line. So right about there is good. Nice.
Woo, that's about it.
Good. All right, let's do one more. You're at 70. Make sure pushing on the red, staying off the top, helps kind of bring some stability in there. So we want to avoid that. So just push on the red there. Nice. Good. So we had what, 70 and 70, right? Good. Let's try the same thing on the other side.
You got all the way down when you did this, didn't you? This is, I figured this would probably be the hardest thing because this is a lot of quad strength, right?
Oh yeah, a lot of quad strength and hip stability.
The harder it is. Like,
How much can you squat?
I don't squat.
You don't squat?
I squat, just not like barbell squat. So
Oh,
I do,
wow.
like dumbbells and just light stuff because I don't want to hurt my back or anything. Doing like big, heavy lifts.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Good. A little bit better there on the left. We got 73. How close were we to 74?
Not gonna lie, I was definitely fighting through some slight discomfort.
In the knee.
Yeah, my left knee.
Gotcha. Okay. If it's ever sharp or anything in there, then you stop the test. Sorry.
That's about it.
All right. Let's do, one more on this left just because
I pushed it a little bit.
push a little bit and then you kind of had to catch yourself out here on the side. It's going to be a good, solid return, balance, and then step down. Beautiful there. 71. Excellent. All right. We're good with that there.
Man.
How do you feel you did?
I feel like I should be further. Well, I'm using Austin as a reference, and Austin did a basically complete pistol squat, and he's what, 5'10"?
Yeah.
And I'm 6'10". I feel like I should be like at the end of that board, so I would say poorly
Sure. Yeah.
relative to my height.
So we use the foot length to keep things relative to you. Overall, your foot length's at 32. So what we do is we double that, and that's our goal. So 64, right? And so you were getting into those 70s, upper extremity and lower extremity, and they were about symmetrical, right, with that right side versus left side.
Okay.
So overall, I wouldn't say we would need to work on or consider too much of an asymmetry through there. The only thing we can start to consider is maybe in a more dynamic environment, again, is how well do we create symmetry through there.
Okay.
So one last thing that I would like to do is a lateral hop test.
Okay.
It's a 30-second test. Do it on both sides. We use 40 centimeters here. What I want to see is just with one leg jumping side to side, staying off that tape like I did a bad job there. You have to stay off the tape, outside the tape, 30 seconds. How many times can you hop? Then we test the same thing other side.
Wow, I don't think I've jumped off this left knee in a long time.
Give me a couple of practice hops here to see how it feels. Good. Relax there. Nice. Take a little break. If you ever run into any discomfort or anything, you just stop, right?
All right.
Let me get the timer going here. And
well, hold on. What do you think the over/under is?
do you want me to tell you what you want to shoot for?
Yeah.
55.
I need to shoot for 55? 55 seconds. Or 55 touches,
55
jumps.
Yep, for males.
All right.
Count, and I'll also count. Just make sure we get the same number.
All right.
On you. Ten more seconds. Good.
I lost count, to be honest.
43. That's what I got. So what you got? Camera won't lie. Felt comfortable through there as you're doing that?
Yeah, it's just tiring. I'm out of shape.
It is tiring, isn't it? It's surprising. So it's kind of an intense test. The good thing about this is that we get to test you with a history of knee issues.
Okay.
We're especially testing your ability to control that hip in this frontal plane.
Yeah.
Right? So all the ability to create kind of control through here, because we're going side to side.
Yeah.
Also, golf swing being a frontal plane, we need to be able to create that stability through here, as well as create that transverse rotation on top of it. So, a great test with your history and the fact that you are a golfer, right?
Yeah.
To see where you stand. Again, the number being 55 is the main goal. The real goal is to make sure there's no pain or discomfort on here, so that you pass that, that's good.
Okay.
And then we know something that we can kind of work towards, right, that 55.
Would you get?
He didn't do this one.
Are you? Oh.
Right, just with your specific case.
Gotcha.
In the orthopedic and functional testing, we always kind of we do more specific to kind of you, your history, and your goals.
Okay.
With these tests. So in this case, we did this lateral hop test.
Man, I'm so out of shape.
Now, a big important thing too is compared to the other side. So let's see if there's any major asymmetries with this
It was
test.
the longest 30 seconds. It's like when you're running and you're just like looking at the clock and you're like, this is terrible.
Yeah. Whenever you're ready.
Get over it.
Seconds. All right, relax there.
56.
47.
40. Was it 47? I can't count
it.
it.
Was closer to 47. Now I took a couple away because we were on line or in front of the line here, but overall we did 47.
Yeah, I just counted the jumps.
Ish.
Like 5 on the line.
5 exactly.
Yeah, I just counted the jumps.
Yep.
I counted the jumps too.
So that's
You were counting the jumps or the white lines.
so we had what 43 on the first side, the left, and then we got to 47 on the right with say about 5.
And on the left side, you didn't have any white lines, I don't think. Maybe one.
Yeah, it was actually impressive how well you controlled what was happening
But the
there.
right side had it. I mean, the first like 3 out of 5 were white lines. Oh god.
Well, funny enough, I actually like jumping off my right leg
Okay.
more,
Same.
which is weird for like usually right-handed
Yeah.
like to jump off their left.
Yep.
For some reason, I like jumping off my right, which is weird.
That is weird.
Okay.
Yeah, you take a little break there. So, good. I think we collected a lot of good data here today for someone who's transitioning into more specifically golf, right? You've been golfing for a long time, but your basketball days are over, and you want to make sure that everything's ready to go for golf.
Yeah.
We have a history of some knee-related pain, injuries, and so we did some testing today to see where's your body at. You know, how ready are we for the golf swing to be the best golfer we can be?
Yeah.
We also did some testing to see functionally, you know, what can we also improve on to not only improve in your ability to create an efficient, effective golf swing, but just to be a better mover, right?
Yeah.
A more kind of bulletproof person who can exercise, train, and do other things without pain or discomfort. So we collected some good data. I'd say the highlights are this right rotation. just period, you know, in a sentence. Multi-segmental rotation towards the right was quite restricted. We saw that almost immediately when we started doing our testing. Your left was, you know, so close to getting there, and your right side was like, man, we ran into a wall. When we did our TPI testing, we noticed lower quarter rotation. We get nothing. When we get weight bearing, you have almost no rotation to that right side.
Yeah.
Our right thoracic spine rotation, 35 degrees, you know, compared to the 43 on the left. We want to get those up to 45. Again, a right rotation. Your shoulder does pretty good. In right rotation, there's really no asymmetry side to side, but I want to get that beyond 90, right? I want you comfortable there. That'll help with so much of these technical swing drills that you might do to try to get into different positions, right? That your coaches might be helping you walk through. On our side, we can work on that too, right? We can make that feel better. Overall, your stability strength testing that we did, you did pretty dang good, right? We had some good symmetry through here, I'd say, with your upper extremity and your lower extremity testing. Your lateral hops revealed a little bit of asymmetry. And it was actually, you were able to get more, but there were some inconsistencies with the hops, right? But it's good we broke through some inhibition there, where man, you're like, I haven't jumped on this foot in how long? I don't know.
Yeah,
so
not that many times.
It's good to start breaking through some of that stuff too, right? Overall, I think, again, we got some good data that we can start addressing, making a treatment plan. In your case, I'd like to take a look at your swing. You just send that, and we'll take a look just to see where the swing characteristic. What are you doing in the swing? Are we actually seeing some loss of posture, or are you creating some compensation elsewhere? Right? Are you early extending out of that position because it's so dang hard for you to get into here? Or are you not? Right? Is it coming from somewhere else? So it'd just be good to see that, so that we know in the end we want to see that get better, right? And we can kind of prioritize better what we work on in here.
Okay, cool, cool. Well, I actually have a question.
Sure.
And I want you to be honest. If you didn't know who I was, you didn't know my background, and you saw all these numbers, would you be like, would you think I'm an elite athlete?
Elite? I don't know what an elite athlete would do with these numbers. I don't.
Okay.
I would assume that you were an athlete at one point.
Okay. He's being generous.
I would assume. No, you'd be surprised. I mean, you get people in here who are great athletes and really good at what they do, and they might be missing something, right? I mean, this is why people end up probably getting injured, is that people walk around with these restrictions and maybe motor control issues, even though they're an elite athlete or a very good athlete. So you really can't ever tell. But again, your ability to create stability, that upper and lower extremity, tells me that you know how to move a little bit, right?
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, these aren't the worst numbers I've ever seen, by a long shot.
They're just okay.
Yeah, everyone struggles at somewhere. You know, you'd say your ability to control your pelvis in this TPI testing was good enough to say that you know how to swing a golf club. Okay. Right.
Cool.
Yeah. Well done.
Well, man, I really appreciate you doing this.
Of course.
The insight, like, I'm honestly surprised with some of these numbers. Like, I came in here thinking that, like, I knew my back was going to be something. I knew that my hips were going to be something too, but I didn't know it was going to be the extent to what you said. So, like, I really do think it's, like, important to seek out someone who does this stuff professionally, because there's a lot of, like, small details that you will miss just naturally because you're not used to it. So I really appreciate you doing this with me. If you guys have any questions, leave those down in the comment section. Hopefully Dr. Nick, I can send them to him. He can answer them for you guys.
Let me know.
But yeah, I really appreciate you doing this.
Of course. Happy to help, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
Once again, I have Dr. Nick's channel linked down in the description, his Instagram. You do YouTube too, is right?
That's right.
His YouTube channel as well. Check him out, give him a follow. Once again, appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as well. A lot of content coming, so let's start 2025 off pretty well.